Thank you so much for clicking on my video, and if you're returning, welcome back to my channel. Today, I want to talk about the movie When Sparks Fly. Let's get into it. Once again, thank you so much for clicking on my video. If you have not already, go ahead and like this video, subscribe to my channel, and turn on that notification bell so that you can be notified whenever I post a new video. Also, if you have not, feel free to check out my memberships and the membership perks. I want to say a big hello to the friend circle and a formal welcome to my royal court. Thank you so much for joining me today, and I hope to see more of you join memberships so that you can get exclusive content and perks. So I checked out the movie When Sparks Fly. Now, this is a Hallmark movie. I'd heard so much about it. And last week I reviewed The Dater's Handbook, and everyone was like, if you like this, you've got to check out When Sparks Fly. So as I go through, I'm going to just kind of briefly recap the movie, share my thoughts, and then I'm going to tell you which one is my favorite. Now, next week I will continue my Movies with Meghan on Fridays with random encounters. But today, let's get into When Sparks Fly. So this movie, once again, is a Hallmark movie, and it centers around Amy. She's our protagonist, and she is a reporter who gets this amazing job opportunity at the Chicago Post, but she lives in Washington, and she lives in a very small town. She has a boyfriend who she's been with forever. She runs a business with her family, and she gets this great job offer to become a reporter in Chicago. And we see her take this great opportunity, but it comes at a price. So because she is taking this opportunity and moving so far away from Washington, her boyfriend decides not to propose, and he actually broke up with her because he did not want to deal with the long distance, which, grow up. Like, you can't travel. And plus, they're in a very small town. He's probably not doing too much of anything. He could have gone with her. Anyway, he just completely bailed on the relationship, so he was already SOL in my book. But we do a big, massive time leap 7 years into the future, and we see how her life is going in Chicago. She's got a crappy apartment, very small, not a lot of stuff going on. She doesn't really get along with anyone at her job. It's kind of uncomfortable. She feels like she's left out, and they're pretty stale. Also, her boss told her he would love to see more of a spark in her, which, when sparks fly, a spark, he'd love to see more of a spark in her, and he would love it if she could come back with more creativity. So he gives her an assignment to go back to her hometown and to write a story about the 4th of July and her family's pyrotechnics company. And so that's what she does, but she hasn't been home in a long time. So when she checks in with her best friend, Sammy, she finds out not only is Sammy engaged, but she's engaged to Amy's ex-boyfriend, Hank. Now, Hank is the one who she was with before, and he decided he didn't want to deal with the distance from Washington to Chicago, so he broke up with her. Now he's engaged to her best friend. Right off the bat, I was just like, I don't like Hank. Is this Walking Dead? Can we just kill this character already? I don't know, but I wasn't a fan of Hank, and Hank was on my crap list, okay? So she goes home. Her best friend, Sammy, who's getting married to her ex, Hank, asks her to be her maid of honor. If that's not bad enough, she also asks her to plan the wedding. Now, first of all, let me tell you a little bit about Sammy. Sammy is the tackiest broad I've ever seen in a movie. I've never seen anyone tackier. She's so tacky. Not only tacky as in I'm dating my best friend's ex, but she's tacky as an interior designer. She gives her dad this ugly chair. It's so bad. It's supposed to be like this retro 70s look, but I firmly do not believe that anyone would have ever sat in this chair, 70s or not. It was hideous. Sammy is also on my crap list. Well, Amy goes and she's trying her best to help Sammy write this story and get over, kind of the awkwardness of being around Hank. Throughout the entire movie, she and Hank are trying to be very cordial, but Sammy continues to kind of put them in these odd positions. They are exes. The last time they saw each other, they were breaking up. And before that, they were one of them was planning to propose to the other. So they were pretty serious. First of all, Hank, I'm not going to read Hank, but I want to. But let me just say this. If you can't get over your ex, you don't date her best friend. And best friend, there are too many men in the world to be out here dating your friend's exes. There's never an excuse for it. Amy has this very stiff, straight-laced boyfriend. Now, he's played by Lachlan Monroe. His name is Phil in the movie, but it's played by Lachlan Monroe. Lachlan Monroe is in every freaking movie, I swear, especially in the early 2000s. He was everywhere, but he's most known from White Chicks, Freddy vs. Jason, and my personal fave, the Scary Movie franchise. So if you want to know who Lachlan Monroe is, that's him. But he plays this very rigid guy who's always so busy for Amy. And so they're just not made for each other. We don't get any idea of how long they've been together, but we do know they're not equally yoked. So that's just kind of going on in the background. Also going on in the background, it's a lot of information, is Amy's parents. They run this pyrotechnics company, and they're kind of facing some hardship because they're not progressing. They're kind of doing things the old way. They don't even have a computer. They don't have a website. Honey, nobody knows who they are or where they are. And so Amy's trying to not only help her friend with these impromptu responsibilities, write this write this story, and then also help her family's business stuff from going under and get away from Hank. So she's busy, okay? They said, if you're gonna come here, you're gonna work. And did she work? So she goes and she writes this story. There's so many instances throughout the wedding planning where Hank and Amy are very clearly equally yoked. They have so many similar interests. They kind of have the same vibes. So many people see them together and they're like, oh wow, I'm so glad y'all are back together. And they're like, no, actually, I'm the maid of honor. He is so trash. Let me tell you what he did. If things come to a head at the rehearsal dinner at a barbecue joint, Lou's Barbecue, and they're dancing together. And that's when Hank decides to tell her, like, I was planning to propose to you the night you told me you got a new job, and I decided not to. This completely throws Amy for a loop. And so when the bride cuts in to dance with her soon-to-be husband, and Amy goes and dances with her boyfriend, Phil, she's still thinking about it. And so she has to step away and go collect herself. Hank runs after her. First of all, stop right there. If you're at my rehearsal dinner and it's me and you, baby, if anybody runs out of here crying, you need to stay right here with me. Unless it's the bride, you don't need to give a crap. So I was already like, Hank, you're messing up. Hank, you're being passive aggressive. You don't want to get married, so you're doing things to get under your bride's skin so that she will call this off. I see you, Hank. You can't hide from me. I do not like this Hank character. I do not like the Sammy character. The only one with any kind of sense was Phil, and that's because he was walking in his truth at all times. He was never being fake, okay? So at the twinkly lights. Oh, this is giving me full on Hallmark. It's the quintessential Hallmark movie, okay? And he's sitting there talking to Amy, who's crying, and she's just like, I still have feelings for you. And she's confiding in him. We don't get a response from him, but what we do get is the fact that Sammy heard it all. Sammy heard it. Sammy heard her best friend confess her feelings for her fiance the night before the wedding. Sammy runs away crying. Amy and Hank jump in the car and they go to find Sammy, and they spot her ugly ball of mess of a dress from a mile away. I mean, she looks terrible from the front, back, and the side. That is the worst dress. They continuously throughout the movie remind us, remember, Sammy ain't got no style. Like, her whole wedding motif is this 4th of July pile of crap. Like, this whole movie just continued to scream Murica and Meghan. And so the best part of it was Meghan, because this whole 4th of July motif that this bride was going for was terrible. And then the whole wedding, everything about this woman is 4th of July, red, white, and blue, red, white, and blue, to the point that it's nauseating. And y'all know I'm patriotic. So if I'm saying it's nauseating, it's nauseating. But she's saying all this, and then the night before her wedding at her rehearsal dinner, she wears orange. See what I'm saying? Like, Sammy just continued to tap dance on my nerves the entire movie. But that orange pile of goo, I honestly was just like, Hank, please break her heart and let me see it, because this dress deserves a broken heart, okay? I need to see the tears falling down the front of this dress. It might actually help. But they spot this ugly piece of crap, taffeta mess on the side of the road, and she's looking in a store window being dramatic and sad. She is really giving melodramatic the entire time. And so Hank gets out and he's just like, finish him. He just completely finishes her, bats her feelings to hell, and breaks up with her for real, for real. Amy was busy. Amy did a last minute fundraiser to raise money to get the 4th of July pyrotechnics show to proceed, because at one point the city was like, we just don't have the ends. We're not going to do the pyrotechnics show. And their family was really depending on this money. And they were kind of behind on their books. And it's alluded to us that their inventory stock was low. Like, remember when they said their business wasn't doing well because they weren't evolving. And so she starts this last minute fundraiser with a reporter friend, the only other Black or biracial woman in the movie. And she asks her for her help. They put her on the news. She makes this plea and is like, please donate so that we can have the fireworks show on 4th of July. And again, Meghan and Murica, everyone donates. I'm pretty sure I even donate. I don't know. Yeah, so they get the pyrotechnics show back on. Her family's business is no longer going to be suffering because they got the end game. And throughout all this, she's really sad that she lost her best friend. She sends in her story. I'm pretty sure Amy ruined those people's wedding because she was so tired and she needed to write that story. And she was like, you know what? This would be an excellent conclusion. In addition to celebrating the 4th of July, I ended a fatally doomed marriage. Woohoo! Amy goes back to Sammy and she apologizes. And she gives her a cupcake and she apologizes. And Sammy confides in her that, you know what? I really just wanted this to go well. I just wanted the wedding. I didn't really want the marriage. And that's kind of sad. Girl, throw a party. It just doesn't have to be all this. When's your next birthday? Throw a birthday party. Like, you don't have to have a wedding. You can always just throw a party. You know, you can just throw a party just because. You don't have to get married to throw a great party. You can even do a 3-day destination party. Let's normalize more random parties for no reason so that Sammy can get her ass something to do instead of going around ruining Hank's life and ruining Meghan or no Amy's life. Sammy just needs to throw a party. So she forgives Amy and she takes a bite out of this cupcake that Amy gave her. And then Amy snatches it back and takes a bite. See, now Amy, I let you slide when you took the girl's man, but you took the girl's cupcake. You are a bad friend. This movie is like everybody's playing for worst. Everybody's playing for last place when it comes to good people. No one is good people in this movie. Nobody. So anyway, at the 4th of July picnic that Amy saved, Hank confides in her that he still wants to be with her. And she confesses that she decided to actually stay in Washington so she could help her family run their business. She is leaving the Chicago Post. And so they're now together and in love. And at the end of the night, Sammy sees Phil. Phil and Amy have now broken up. Phil told her the night before, you know, I never saw you as the one. This was just, you know, something to do. And so they broke up on good terms. And he sees Sammy and they are a better fit and they get together. Well, we now go to the end of the movie and Amy and Hank are back on the dock that we started the movie on. And the fireworks are going in the background and it's beautiful. And he proposes and Amy says yes. And that's the end of the movie. Here are my thoughts. Hallmark should have casted at least one Black parent. Now, Meghan is biracial. She is known for not erasing either side of her. And I champion that. You need to get to be who you are openly and freely. So she has no control over casting of any other character other than her own as an actress. Now, if she were director or the casting director or any of the back office behind the scenes roles, then yeah, she would have some input. But she can't control this. But they gave her 2 white parents or white identifying parents. Why are y'all playing in our face, Hallmark? They said no more than 2 Black people on screen at any time. But yeah, I thought that was so weird because Meghan looks biracial. She doesn't look white. She looks biracial. So I thought that was interesting that they did that to my girl. And I just felt like the movie asked her to be 50% of herself. And I was just like, haven't we been here before? Could you not? Could you let my girl be biracial like she is? We don't have to hide the fact that people date interracially. It's not a secret. It's not a secret that they get married or have babies. Like, people are people, Hallmark. And we know Meghan is half Black. You can't hide it from us. Give the girl a Black parent. And I just looked at it, and as soon as I saw her parents, I was like, oh no, they said Meghan en blanc. Like, you're white today. And it's a 4th of July movie, so I felt like it was intentional. I felt like they knew what audience would be watching a 4th of July love movie, and so they made the choice that made sense for them. But also, Meghan was fighting for her life against this green screen. She could only carry the screen so much because that green screen was all over the place. She was fighting for her life, but she did a great job. Sammy I mentioned this before, kept repeating the same outfit. And I just felt like overall, her character's hair, makeup, shoes, repeating the outfit, style, taste, attitude, behavior, motivations, they were just all over the place. They literally took the worst qualities of every character in the movie and was like, give them all to Sammy, and that's her personality now. Meghan looked so pretty in the scene whenever she was confiding in Hank that she really wanted to be together and that she was in love with him. There were like these twinkly lights in the trees. And I personally felt like, I was like, oh, I think maybe in her contract with Hallmark, she was like, there's got to be at least one scene where there are twinkly lights behind me because it makes me look radiant. And it does. And so if that was her call or theirs, then I completely agree with it. And overall, I just felt like Hank was not worth all of this. I feel like Hank was probably the most boring male lead I've seen in a movie my entire life. He was awful. Oh, I take that back. If you've seen the show Maggie, the male lead in that is so boring and so mismatched, and they have zero chemistry. And I'm 100% convinced the reason Maggie, the TV show, did not take off on Hulu is because the male lead made no sense for the female protagonist, nor her story, nor his whole personality, and they had zero chemistry. They really did us a disservice because Maggie could have been an excellent show. It was very much like a modern day That's So Raven. It was a psychic. Anyway. In this movie, same problem. The male lead is just the pits. They had no chemistry. And they didn't give us enough reasons why these two were so in love. They gave us some like similar things that they had in common, like they liked the same cake, they liked the same china, the same food, the same music. But they never gave us a reason to root for them. I think we should have gotten more scenes of them like cohesively living in this synchronized way, or just we saw them as a unit together before they dropped the bomb on us that she was moving. They should have made us care about that first before they broke them up. You've got to make us give a damn. And they didn't do a great job of that, nor did they utilize flashbacks to kind of tell the story or fill in the gaps. So that's the only complaint I have about that. And I didn't feel like they had enough chemistry in general. I just felt like they should have gotten a different male lead because she was giving it her all and he just seemed stiff and uncomfortable and just extremely robotic. He really shouldn't have been the catalyst for all this drama. But I'm glad that Sammy and Amy stayed friends, but I would have opted for a better story of like at the end, both of them are like, girl, we must have just been bored or just got caught up in the 4th of July hype. Hank ain't all that, and just moved on. Or maybe Amy could have relocated and started her party planning business in Chicago. Or no, Sammy should have started her party planning business in Chicago with Amy. They got a 2-bedroom apartment, so now Amy gets an upgrade and they live their life fancy free in Chicago. This movie really wanted us to hate Sammy, and I obliged. Movies always put characters in converses when they want us to know they're quirky or not like other girls or different in some way. And I need you to know that I know what you're doing. And you're trying to get me to root for her because she's not like other girls. And y'all put Sammy in these ugly ass clogs, and then you put Meghan in these beautiful Converses. I see what you're doing. It worked, but just know that I see you. So those are my thoughts on the movie. In comparison to The Dater's Handbook and When Sparks Fly, I'm gonna have to give it to The Dater's Handbook. I liked all the characters. All of the supporting characters were entertaining, except for that damn sister. She was so nosy. Anyway, other than that, all of the other characters were very well put together, and I kind of understood their motivations more, and I understood their behavior more. Even in When Sparks Fly, when Sammy was going on and on about, her mom had passed, and it kind of gave us an idea of why she may be spiraling. They didn't really show us enough about her relationship with her living parent, her dad, or what void needed to be filled with the loss of her mom. The only thing they showed us is that, planning a wedding would have been easier if her mom was there, but they didn't really show us what exactly was the loss. I felt like the overall production of The Dater's Handbook was so much better. And I felt like the story was told much better. neither movie had a good male lead. They continue to pair Meghan, who's this vibrant and vivacious female protagonist and fun to watch on screen. They continue to pair her with these boring male leads who are just as dry can be. And it's really annoying. I mean, come on. It's like making a great sandwich and then getting stale bread to put on either side. It's like, I have all the fixins. Get me some good soft bread. But they never got her some good soft bread. So anyway, those are my thoughts on When Sparks Fly. Please tell me if you've seen this movie and what you think. And in comparison to When Sparks Fly and The Dater's Handbook, which one is your favorite? I'm interested in knowing. Also, who is your least favorite and who is your most favorite character from When Sparks Fly? Please let me know. That's all I've got for you today. Once again, if you would like to become a member of my channel, use the link in the description box below, and I'm happy to have you. You get all kinds of really cool perks and all kinds of really cool exclusive content, so I'm excited to see you come on over. And in addition to that, feel free to like this video, subscribe to my channel, and turn on that notification bell so that you can be notified whenever I post a new video. Feel free to follow me on socials, and I will see you next time.